Hi, hello guys. So in today's video we are going to discuss about general principles of antimicrobials, or in other ways antimicrobials, antibiotics. It's the same thing, right? So basically we're going to discuss about some general principles of antibiotics. In this video we are only going to discuss about the things that are asked in prof, because trust me, you don't have time, I don't have time, no one else has time to waste, right? So we're only going to focus on prof questions, the things that you absolutely need to understand for your written and viva. So basically these are literally the only questions that you really should study for your exams, right? So we'll be focusing on these questions. So take a good look, pause the video to look at the questions, right? So anyways, so before we jump into today's topic, we'll be discussing about the types of antibiotics, mechanisms of antibiotic resistance, rational use of antibiotic. This is the most important question from this whole chapter that will definitely come in your exams. How do I know it comes in your exam? Because I've given the exams myself, right? So we'll be spending a lot of time studying this question. Apart from this, we'll be also talking about antibiotic combinations. What are antibiotic combinations? What are the types, advantages, disadvantages of antibiotic combination, along with examples, which is very, very important. And we'll also be talking about MIC, MBC. What is MIC? What is MBC? What is the actual importance of these things, right? So we'll try to understand all of it, and trust me, 100% of everything I discussed today in this video is going to come in your exams, right? So pay attention. So before we jump into the real thing, like the juicy real thing, right, let us talk about some less important things. Why they are less important? Because they are less important, but sometimes they ask these things in exams, and I don't want you guys to be like caught off guard, right? So let us just discuss these things so that we can get to the actual real things, right? So what is antimicrobials? Anti means anti-opposite, microbials mean organisms, right? So antimicrobials are things or drugs that are used to kill microorganisms. That's pretty self-explanatory, right? So from antimicrobials, there are different kinds of antimicrobials. Like there are antibacterial drugs, antiviral drugs, antifungal drugs, antiprotozoal drugs, and antihelminthic. Helminthic is basically like parasites, right? Depending on what the antimicrobial does, there are antibacterial, viral, fungus, protozoal, and helminthic. That's pretty simple, right? Now another classification of antimicrobials can be according to the source of antimicrobial, right? So according to course, there are three types of antimicrobials. First is antibiotics, second one is chemotherapeutic, and third one is semi-synthetic, right? It's not super important, but just for you to know, right? So antibiotics are basically those antimicrobials, or those drugs that come from natural sources, right? And chemotherapeutics are those antimicrobials that come from synthetic sources, right? And semi-synthetic is like a mixture of both, between natural and synthetic. One of the examples of antibiotics, right? So antibiotics is basically those antimicrobials that come from natural sources. So what is an example, right? For example, one of the examples is, I'm sure you've heard of this drug penicillin, right? Just to make you guys understand, right? So you've studied, I think you know the story of how penicillin was discovered. If you don't, just Google it. It's like a very famous story, that is, penicillin is actually derived from a fungus, right? I don't know the name of the fungus, penicillium or something, right? So basically, the penicillin is the antibiotic penicillin is derived from a fungus, and the thing that this fungus produces, which is penicillin, kills bacteria, right? So it kills bacteria. So this penicillin, since it is coming from a natural source, that is a fungus, Google the name of the fungus, this penicillin is an antibiotic. Similarly, if there is another drug that kills, that is antimicrobial, that is from a synthetic source, that is chemotherapeutic. That is all that you need to know from this thing, right? So natural penicillin, synthetic, chemotherapeutic, that's it. I mean, it's pretty confusing, people get confused, so I thought it would be important to say this thing. Now, what is chemotherapy, right? Chemotherapy is the use of drug with selective toxicity against pathogenic organism, but inoculous, what is it? I don't know what this word is, right? That is harmless. It basically means harmless to the host. This is known as chemotherapy, right? So chemotherapy, like this antimicrobial, it is a part of chemotherapy, right? Like basically all the drugs that are used to kill the bad thing is just basic, and while sparing the, or while not harming the own cells, our own cells. This is known as chemotherapy. So chemotherapy basically use of drugs to kill the pathogenic or bad organisms while not harming our own self. For example, if you take penicillin, like the example that I said before, the penicillin kills the bacteria, right? It is an antibiotic, but it does not kill our own cell, right? Because if penicillin killed our own cell, then it would kill us as well, right? But taking penicillin doesn't kill us, it only kills the bacteria. So this whole thing where this penicillin kills only the bad bacteria while not harming our own cell, which is how it's supposed to be, this whole thing is known as chemotherapy, right? So that is that. Now so there is this word, right? There is this word called selective toxicity that I highlighted. So how does the penicillin drug differentiate between the bacteria and our own cell, right? So in order to only kill the bacteria and not kill our own cell, the penicillin should differentiate. No, this is bacteria, so I should kill it, and this is our own cell, I should not kill it. So this way by which the penicillin knows which thing to selectively kill, selective toxicity, right? To selectively kill only the bacteria, this process is known as selective toxicity. So I'll just give a quick example. Since I mentioned it, I'll just tell you how does penicillin happen, since you happen to be curious, right? So basically penicillin, I told you penicillin kills the bacteria, right? And bacteria have what? Cell wall, right? So do human cells have cell wall? No, we don't have cell wall. So this is your bacteria with the cell wall, this is a human cell without the cell wall. Human and bacteria, right? So when you give penicillin, this P is penicillin, right? So penicillin only affects the cell wall, it kills the bacteria by destroying the cell wall, right? So which cell? So if you give penicillin, if you take the penicillin tablet, it gets absorbed in your body, right? It will go to every single cell in your body. It's not that penicillin only goes to the bacteria, it goes to bacteria as well as human cells. But since human cells does not have cell wall, so and penicillin only works by destroying the cell wall, will penicillin have any effect on the human cells? No, right? Because we don't have cell wall. So the penicillin will only selectively work to destroy the bacteria which has the cell wall. So bacteria having the cell wall is the mechanism by which penicillin exerts selective toxicity against bacteria, not human cells, right? I hope that was clear, right? So good, right? So keeping all these things in mind, I came up with this whole Better Notes channel, YouTube channel. So apart from this YouTube channel which you are watching right now, I also have tuition. So I also give tuition. So if you're interested in tuitions, you can contact me. I also have a Telegram group where like almost 200 plus students from different medical colleges are already added in a couple of my Telegram groups where they can ask me questions, or you can ask questions. I will try to help you guys in this Telegram group, or your friends might even help you. So it's like we have Telegram groups to discuss questions and like things you're struggling with in general. So make sure you join the Telegram group. And I have notes as well, the notes that I personally use for my own exam preparation, which a lot of my juniors absolutely love. Okay, thankfully they like it, right? So if you want these notes, and apart from the notes, I also have clinical videos. This is upcoming, right? So hopefully I'm also planning with my friends to make some clinical videos within the hospital itself, so that you guys can have a little bit more help on the clinical side of things as well. So if you are interested in any of these, the tuitions, the notes, the Telegram groups, all of this, the link to all of it can be found in the comment section, right? So the first comment in the comment section, you can find the links to all of it. So make sure you check out the comment section.